Riley told her mom she was staying at a friend's house, but that night, she walked into a party that changed everything. It was Friday evening and the sky was starting to turn orange. Riley stood in front of the mirror, fixing her hair. She looked at herself for a long time. Her heart was racing a little. She wasn't sure why. Maybe it was excitement, or maybe it was guilt. She had told Kandi she was sleeping over at her friend Maya's house. But that wasn't true. Maya had invited her to a party. A real party. With music. With people. With no parents. Riley had never gone to one before, not without telling her mom. But she didn't want to miss this chance. Everyone at school was going. And for once, Riley wanted to feel normal. Just a teenager. Not the daughter of a famous mom. Not the quiet girl who always followed the rules. Downstairs, Kandi was in the kitchen, making tea. She looked tired. She had been working all week, running around, handling meetings, shoots, interviews, everything. But when Riley came down with her overnight bag, Kandi smiled. "You sure you packed your toothbrush this time?" Kandi joked. Riley laughed softly. "Yeah, I double-checked." Kandi walked over and hugged her. "Call me if you need anything. And be safe, alright?" "I will," Riley said. She hugged her mother tightly. And for a second she almost changed her mind. Almost. But then her phone buzzed. A text from Maya. "We're here. Come outside." Riley pulled away from the hug. "That's them. I gotta go." Kandi walked her to the door, waved at the car, and then watched as Riley got in. Riley didn't look back. Inside the car, Maya grinned. "You ready?" Riley nodded, but her stomach twisted. The lie had worked, but it didn't feel good. The car drove off, music playing loud. Riley stared out the window, trying not to think about her mom. She didn't want to ruin the night with guilt. She was here now. She had to live a little. The house was big. Lights flashed from the windows. Music thumped loud enough to shake the ground. Cars were parked up and down the street. Teenagers were laughing, dancing, yelling. Riley froze for a second when she stepped out of the car. She had never seen something like this in real life. Just in movies. "Come on." Maya pulled her arm. They walked in and the heat hit her first. Then the smell, perfume, sweat, chips, and something else. Something sharp. Alcohol. In the living room, people were dancing wild. Someone was throwing popcorn in the air. A boy with green hair was asleep on the couch. Another couple was making out in the corner. Riley blinked. "Want a drink?" Maya asked. Riley shook her head. "I'm good." They walked deeper into the house. Maya found some of her friends. Riley tried to smile, to laugh, to look like she belonged. But her heart wouldn't stop pounding. A group of guys near the kitchen were lighting something. The smoke curled through the air. Riley coughed. One of them looked over and raised an eyebrow. "You good?" She nodded quickly and looked away. In the bathroom mirror, Riley stared at herself again. Her eyes looked different now. Not scared. Just tired. She turned on the water and splashed her face. "What am I doing here?" she thought. She had lied to her mom. Snuck out. Came to a party full of strangers. And for what? Back in the hallway, Maya was talking to a boy. He was tall, with messy hair and tattoos on his arm. "Hey," Maya waved Riley over. "This is Jace." Riley gave a small smile. "Hi." Jace smiled back. "You're the quiet one, huh?" Riley didn't answer. Jace laughed. "That's cool. Quiet girls see everything." Riley felt uncomfortable, but she didn't want to seem rude. She nodded and backed away. She wanted to go home. But how could she? What would she tell her mom? The music got louder. Someone spilled a drink on her shoes. A couple started arguing near the stairs. A dog barked from somewhere in the backyard. Everything felt too fast. Suddenly, Maya grabbed her arm. "Come outside. Let's get some air." They stepped into the backyard, where people were smoking under string lights. The smoke hit Riley's nose again. Maya whispered, "Don't be weird. Just chill." One of the boys handed a joint to Maya. She took a puff and passed it to Riley. "Try it," Maya said. Riley stared at it. Her hands shook. Her throat was dry. This was the moment. Say yes or say no. Be cool or be different. She reached out slowly. Before she could grab it, someone shouted from the side, "Yo, that's Riley Burris, right? Kandi's daughter?" Riley froze. All eyes turned to her. A girl laughed. "Dang, I didn't think you'd come to something like this." The boy with the joint grinned. "Kandi knows you're here?" Riley's chest tightened. Maya whispered, "Just ignore them." But it was too late. The attention was on her now. Everyone was watching. Riley felt her face burn. I need to use the bathroom, she said quickly, turning back inside. In the hallway, she found a quiet spot and pulled out her phone. Her hands trembled. She typed a message to Kandi, then erased it, then typed again. Hey mom, I'm sorry. She stared at the screen. Her thumb hovered over send. But before she could press it, the door swung open. It was Jace. He leaned against the wall, too close. You okay? He asked. Riley nodded quickly. Yeah, I just needed a minute. He stared at her for a long time, then smirked. You're not like the others. I like that. She didn't know what to say. Suddenly, someone shouted from the kitchen. A crash followed. Glass breaking. Then yelling. The party was turning. Riley ran outside. She grabbed Maya. I want to go home. What? Now? Just, please. Maya frowned but didn't argue. They left quietly. No one noticed. Or maybe they did, but no one cared. In the car, Riley sat silently. Her hands were cold. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was Kandi. Hey, just checking in. Hope you're having fun. Love you. Riley's eyes filled with tears. She doesn't even know I lied. She wanted to go back in time. She wanted to undo everything. But she couldn't. She stared out the window again. This time, she didn't feel free. She felt trapped in her own choices. The party was over. But the real consequences were just about to begin. The music was loud. The lights were flashing. People were dancing, shouting, laughing. Riley stood near the door, holding a red cup someone had handed her. She hadn't even taken a sip. Her heart was beating fast. Everything felt a little too wild. It wasn't what she expected. She thought the party would be chill, maybe music, snacks, a few friends hanging out and talking. But this was too much. In the corner, she saw Leah talking to a group of older boys. One of them handed her a drink. Leah giggled. Riley looked around. There were strangers everywhere. Some people smelled like smoke. Some were drinking too much, stumbling and laughing like nothing mattered. Riley took a deep breath and moved to the kitchen. She needed a quiet moment to think. But the kitchen was packed too. A girl was crying in one corner. Another couple was kissing near the fridge. Someone bumped into Riley and spilled a drink on her shoes. Hey, watch it, the guy said, even though it was his fault. Riley muttered, sorry, and moved away. She found a small empty hallway and leaned against the wall, her heart racing. She pulled out her phone. 8 missed calls from Kandi. 3 new texts. Where are you? Riley? I'm calling the police if you don't answer. Her throat went dry. What was she going to say? How could she explain this? Suddenly, Leah appeared in the hallway, laughing, cheeks red. There you are. Why do you look like that? Riley showed her the phone. My mom's freaking out. Leah's smile faded. Oh, I should have told her. You didn't. Riley shook her head. Leah sighed. Let's just leave then. I'll call a ride. But the phone service was bad. Nothing was loading. People were still pouring in. The house felt tighter, louder, hotter. Suddenly, someone shouted, cops! People screamed. Drink spilled. Everyone started running. Leah grabbed Riley's hand. Go! They pushed through the crowd. The front door was jammed. People were jumping out windows, running across the lawn. Riley's heart pounded like a drum. She didn't want to get arrested. She didn't even drink anything. But would anyone believe her? They finally made it outside. Leah's older cousin was parked down the street. They jumped into his car, breathless. As they drove away, sirens blared behind them. Riley stared out the window, trembling. Leah turned to her. You okay? No, Riley said, her voice cracking. That was the worst night of my life. She didn't say a word the whole ride home. She didn't cry. She just felt numb. Like her whole body was empty. And as the car pulled up to her house, her heart dropped. Kandi was standing at the front door, arms crossed, face pale with fear and anger. The porch light lit up her eyes and Riley froze. Leah whispered, Do you want me to wait? Riley shook her head. This is something I have to do alone. She got out. Every step toward her mom felt like walking through fire. And she knew. This wasn't just about sneaking out anymore. This was about trust. And that trust? It had just shattered. The night was quiet. Too quiet. Riley slowly walked up the porch steps. Her legs felt heavy like they didn't want to move. Kandi stood still, arms folded tight, eyes locked on her daughter. She didn't say a word. Not yet. The front door creaked shut behind Riley. And for a moment, the silence between them felt louder than any shouting ever could. "I'm sorry," Riley whispered. Kandi didn't answer. She just stared. "Mom," Riley said again, "I was going to tell you. Don't lie," Kandi cut in, her voice calm but full of pain. "You weren't going to tell me. You planned this. You snuck out. You ignored all my calls." Riley looked down, tears building in her eyes. "I was scared." "Scared of what?" Kandi said. "Scared I'd say no? Or scared I'd find out who you're really trying to be when I'm not around?" Riley wiped her cheek. "It was just a party." "Don't say just," Kandi snapped. "You don't know what could have happened to you tonight. Do you know how many girls your age go missing from parties like that?" Riley opened her mouth, but closed it again. Because she didn't know. She had no idea. Kandi took a deep breath, trying not to cry. "I called your phone 10 times. I was about to call the police. I didn't know if you were hurt or, God forbid, worse." "I didn't drink," Riley said quickly. "I swear. I didn't even smoke. I didn't do anything wrong." "You did everything wrong," Kandi interrupted. And this time, her voice cracked. "You lied. You left this house. You went somewhere dangerous. You broke my trust." Riley's lips trembled. "I just wanted to be normal." "You are normal," Kandi said. "But being normal doesn't mean being careless." She paused. "And it doesn't mean doing what everyone else is doing just to feel liked." Riley looked away. A tear slid down her cheek. "I didn't know it'd get that crazy. I thought it would be fun. Like, just snacks and music and people dancing. I didn't know there'd be older guys. I didn't know someone would yell cops. I didn't know I'd be that scared." Kandi's eyes softened, but only a little. "Did anyone touch you?" Riley shook her head quickly. No, nothing like that." "Did you leave with a stranger?" "No." Kandi closed her eyes for a moment. Relief washed over her, but the pain was still there. "Go to your room," she said softly. "We'll talk in the morning." "Are you mad at me?" Riley whispered. Kandi's face broke. "I'm not mad. I'm hurt." Those words hit Riley harder than any punishment ever could. "I don't care about the party," Kandi said. "I care about you. I care about your safety. And tonight, I didn't know if I was ever going to see you walk back through that door." Riley turned and walked slowly up the stairs. She opened her bedroom door, shut it behind her, and sat on her bed. For a while, she didn't cry. She just sat there, empty. But after a few minutes, the tears came. Heavy. She wasn't crying because she got caught. She was crying because she finally understood something. Her mom wasn't trying to ruin her life. She was trying to save it. Downstairs, Kandi sat on the couch, hands covering her face. Her daughter was safe. But the trust? It was broken. And she didn't know how long it would take to build it back. The morning sun peeked through Riley's curtains. But she didn't want to wake up. Her eyes were puffy. Her pillow was still damp from crying. She stayed curled up under her blanket, wishing she could erase the night before. Downstairs, Kandi was already awake. She had barely slept. She kept replaying everything in her head, every call Riley ignored, every minute she didn't know where her daughter was. But Kandi also remembered something else. She remembered being Riley's age. She remembered sneaking out too. She remembered feeling like the world didn't understand her. Kandi made breakfast, but didn't eat. She just sat there, waiting. At 9:12 a.m., Riley slowly came down the stairs. She looked nervous. Afraid. Kandi motioned for her to sit. Neither of them spoke for a minute. Just silence. Then Kandi said softly, "I'm glad you came home safe." Riley nodded. "I know I messed up. I don't want to yell at you," Kandi said. "I want to understand you." That surprised Riley. She expected shouting, anger, grounding, but instead her mom looked tired. Said, "Human. I just wanted to fit in," Riley whispered. Kandi's eyes filled with tears. "Baby, you don't need to change to fit in. You shine just the way you are. But when you lie and sneak around, it dims that light." "I was scared you'd say no," Riley said. "Maybe I would have," Kandi said honestly. "But we would have talked. I would have told you why. I would have made sure you were safe." Riley's voice cracked. "I didn't like how it felt. I thought the party would be fun, but when the music got loud and people got drunk, I felt like I didn't belong there." "You didn't," Kandi said. "That's your gut talking. That's your inner voice. Always listen to it." Riley nodded, wiping her cheek. "I know I broke your trust," she said. "I'm so sorry, Mommy." Kandi opened her arms. Riley ran into them. And for the first time since last night, they both cried. But this time, the tears were different. They were healing, not hurting. "I love you more than anything," Kandi whispered. "That's why I get scared. That's why I care so much." "I love you too," Riley said. "I didn't realize how much until last night." They sat like that for a while, holding each other tight. After a few minutes, Kandi pulled back gently. "There's going to be consequences," she said. "You'll be grounded for 2 weeks. No phone after 8 p.m. No sleepovers for a while." Riley nodded. "I deserve it. But there's something else I want more than anything," Kandi added. "What?" "Your honesty. Your trust. If you want to go somewhere, we talk. If you don't feel safe, you call me, no matter what. Deal?" "Deal." They pinky promised like they used to when Riley was little. And something magical happened. The bond between mother and daughter, shaken, cracked, and tested, started to rebuild. Not because everything was perfect, but because they chose love over anger, truth over secrets, and closeness over fear. Later that day, Riley sat in her room and wrote in her journal. "Last night, I learned something big. Parties can end. Friends can change. But my mom still stays. She worries. She yells. She gets mad. But she loves me in a way nobody else ever could. And I never want to lose that again." As she closed her journal, Kandi walked in holding 2 mugs of hot cocoa. "Want to watch a movie?" she asked. Riley smiled. "Only if we watch one of your old 90s ones again." They laughed. And just like that, the pain faded a little. Because even after the storm, love was still there.